If you've watched a lot of Kung Fu movies, then 9 times out of 10 you've probably heard of Jackie Chan. Or you just watched the Rush Hour series and claim to be a Jackie Chan fan. Probably that one. What I'm saying is, if you have seen some of his older movies, then you've probably seen him at his best. Now before I go on about how brilliant his films are, because believe me I can go on for ages, I've done it before. No, today we're going to be looking at the video games made in his name. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't played any of his early games as some of them are a little hard to find and some of them can be bloody expensive. But we are going to be looking at these games because they're the only Jackie Chan games I've played. I mean, I could count the Shaolin vs Wutang gangs, but since they don't have a story and they're primarily fighting games with many famous martial artists included, yeah, I think I'll be skipping these.
I will say that while doing research into these games, I decided to, give them a try myself, and to my surprise, they were very underrated fighting games. The first one's a bit iffy at times, but the second, the sequel, good lord, that is a masterpiece. And I highly recommend you guys giving it a try yourselves. Plus, as a plus, their prices are unbelievably reasonable, especially when you get them at a discount. But enough advertisement for one day.
Back to the main point of the review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Stuntmaster game and the adventure game for PS1 and 2. So let's start things off with Stuntmaster, and let me tell you, this game still holds up pretty well in some parts. Plus what makes me more excited to replay this little gem is having the voice of Jackie himself in it, and he even performs his own stunts in the game through motion capture. I believe this is one of the first games to utilize that technology too. Don't quote me on it though, but it is the only game I know/remember using it first. So that will mean that we'll be getting a very different experience when playing this game with the combat, right?
I think I'm gonna puke.
Okay.
You know, I won't lie, but I was kinda expecting more from the combat with the behind the scenes footage we got. Oh well. The story is that Jackie works at a warehouse with his grandfather and he's been asked to deliver a package to someone. While in the background, a secret organization is watching from the shadows. They later kidnap Jackie's grandfather and in true Jackie Chan fashion, chases them down and leads him to an alleyway where the bad guys took his grandfather. This, in turn, starts the game.
Sure, it's a simple enough plot, but then again, it could be to the game's benefit in some cases.
With the graphics of the game, I won't be too harsh on it, as this is a PS1 game and looks very good for what we got. But I won't lie by saying that the facial animations were something else. Oh god. Now with the gameplay, I've got to be honest, it isn't much to really discuss about. Not that it's bad or anything, but as I mentioned earlier, I was expecting to be able to perform a lot more than what we got. The platforming is sadly the game's biggest weakness, as it mainly is due to the camera placement, as every time you miss a jump, it'll mainly be due to poor depth perception, which can be pretty annoying in some parts. I've already mentioned my slight disappointment with the combat, but you can do all sorts of martial arts moves that Jackie does, like punch, kick, use weapons, and also use bits of the environment to help you beat tougher enemies, which is very Jackie Chan. You can also perform some cool simple combos while fighting, and you can use grab attacks, which can be pretty entertaining to watch. But I've got a feeling that most of you use the grab attack to push enemies off of high platforms. The bosses for each level, or hub worlds, are pretty interesting and a little entertaining too, as they are pretty basic and kind of dumb video game type of bosses. You fight a chef, who's just named Chef, a big strong guy named Barney. Oh, hey Fred, do you want me to get some Chinese? A boxing clown. Yes, you heard me right, a boxing clown. I'll let that one set in for a bit.
Welcome to my world, Jackie. You're a featherweight.
A disco dancer from the 70s who I think was Jackie's favourite boss.
Swing in the sway, I got all the moves. I'm a #1 fighting fool. You know I am so cool. Jackie, let's boogie. Get down.
And finally, the final boss, Dante. This is where I'd had a joke about him being named Dante, but let's be honest, he's just a villain for the sake of being one for the video game. The only other thing to mention is that throughout the levels you are collecting red and gold dragon faces, and once you collect all 20 of the golden ones, you unlock a bonus mission that is loosely based off one of Jackie's most famous movie, Drunken Master. Everything is the same, but if you pick up a drink within the level, your fighting style changes and you start fighting the drunken boxing style. This only works when you're still holding onto the drink, but if an enemy knocks Jackie down, he drops the drink and you no longer fight with that style. Who knew a swift kick to the face is a good way to sober up? Huh, I might try that sometime. That's about all I can say about this game, sadly, as it's just a simple little gem with a simple plot, mission, enemies, and to be honest, your entire experience as a whole.
Now, you guys may be forgiven for giving this game a complete miss for its simplistic nature, but what if I was to tell you that it was actually intentional?
That's because Jackie himself requested the game to be simple and easy to play, as he used to play classic Nintendo and Sega games years ago and enjoyed just jumping into it and not worrying about the story, as he finds modern video games nowadays too complicated to understand.
I play games because the game really gives me a lot of idea and I keep my mind to keep working. But now the game's more difficult now. It's not like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's simple, 2 buttons. But now too many buttons, you just keeps you very busy.
And I think the developers did a brilliant job at that, as the game is easy to pick up, easy to understand, and is just there to exist to have fun. Yes, it's got its flaws, but let's be real, a game without flaws would probably be boring. You know what, saying that, I could probably make a list of games that people call perfect, and I could actually easily say that they are pieces of...
Yo, Whalley!
What? Oh, for the love of another again? Oh, God.
Oh, calm down. It's not like I'm here to interrupt your show or anything like that.
Oh, okay. But why are you interrupting me?
Well, I heard you were talking about Jackie Chan Adventures. I love that show.
No, I was actually talking about Stuntmaster.
Wait, is that the one where they took the apostrophe out of the PAL version for some reason?
Yeah, that's the one.
Huh. Hey, can we talk about Jackie Chan Adventures instead? That series was awesome.
Indeed it was. Which brings me to...
How cool was it that they always foreshadowed the season's next villain in the current season? That was great.
Yeah, that was cool, but I think
For how the entire series was based off a combination of Jackie Chan's Armor of God and the Chinese comedy A Ghost Story, like, it blended together so well. There was no reason for that show to be as good as it was.
Yes,
Dude, come on, don't even get me started on Viper. She was freaking hot.
John! Look, I appreciate your enthusiasm about the series, and if I was doing a video on it, you'll be the first one to know. But I was actually going to talk about the PS2 game.
Oh, you mean that game that never released over here?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that game never came out in the States. It was supposed to, but then the publisher or whoever went bankrupt, so we never got it over here.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's no big deal. I mean, we did get a Game Boy Advance game, but it wasn't very good. I mean, I guess you can emulate it if you really want to.
True. Very true. But to be honest, that still sucks.
Indeed it does, my friend. But, hey, sometimes in life you just gotta look at the bright side.
Oh yeah?
Well, yeah, I got to talk about Jackie Chan Adventures and interrupt your show and plug my channel. Subscribe to Strain 42 today.
You mother...
See you later, Whalley.
Okay. If I ever get the pleasure of meeting him in real life, I'm gonna kick his ass. And then hug him.
Moving on from all that, next up is the game based around the cartoon series, which was a pretty good and entertaining show. You know, despite the fact that Jackie only helps to produce it rather than voicing himself. I digress though. The game itself had a very interesting release. As previously mentioned, it was only released in Europe, but never got outside to the United States. So, while I do feel sorry for my American friends for never being able to experience this game, I'm still going to say that's our middle finger to you for never releasing that Lupin the Third game here. I'm just that petty. Right, from the get...
Oh! That was unnecessary! Ow!
Getting back to the point, this game has an interesting art choice, as they are using a mix of cel-shaded art and waxy cartoon styles. While in some areas and characters it isn't much of a problem, but with others, probably might need medical help. A poor child. I'll be honest here, I have hardly anything to say about this game. Combat is okay, as you pull off a few combos, but you'll be doing the same ones throughout the whole game. Voice acting for this game can be a little mixed too. While they got all the original actors to reprise their roles, it's clear they didn't provide the best equipment for them, especially for Jade here.
Come on, Jackie, let's go!
Whoa, Jade, where do you think you're going?
With you to Mexico, of course.
Also, some of the deliveries in some parts felt like it was listening to the first time read-through, as there are some very awkward pauses during some conversation, but I'm putting that down to how they laid it out during development. Jackie's movement is a little comedically odd, as it kind of looks like he's in a rush to get somewhere. I mean, Jesus Christ, Jackie, slow down! The next episode of Hell of a Boss might be out now, but they'll still be there when they get home. Jesus Christ! There are a few puzzles in this game sprinkled throughout all the levels, but they don't really add much of a challenge. Nothing bad about them, just expected a bit more, but then again, I'm used to puzzles from point-and-click games. So yeah, my expectations are high.
I'll be honest here, while the game does suffer from its flaws, you've got to give the development team credit for trying to recreate Adventure's world and art style. Plus, as an extra added bonus, they gave us more Uncle, who is the biggest troll of the entire series, and the game gets more points for that.
Oh right, forgot to mention the story. It's kind of similar to the series, but has combined two separate ones. Like the first season is about mainly finding the talismans, and the second one is stopping the main villain Shendu from releasing his brethren onto the world. Well, in this game, as mentioned earlier, combined both seasons into one. Is it bad that I only just realised I mentioned the main villain's name without noticing? As I didn't write that into the script. God, what else am I remembering about this show? Oh yeah, the talismans! If you remember ages back, this show had magazine issues that were released that had one-off stories, trivia about the show, and other bits of information too. And nearly every issue gifted you a talisman to own, and with me being me, I collected all of them, including the collection cards too. Do I need help? I'm not sure anymore. Let's get back on track. The talismans can be used throughout the game once you collected them. To name a few, and to also flex my now re-emerging knowledge about them, the rabbit one makes Jackie run really fast. The ox one grants him superhuman strength. The rooster one gives him a double jump, but in the show it allows the user to fly. The sheep allows you to astral project yourself into another place. I could list off a few of the other talisman abilities, but I don't want this video to go on for way too long. Leave that to a series retrospective. There are a few mini-games included, and I'll be honest, some of them are quite enjoyable to do, but they can outstay their welcome if you fail enough times. The bosses exist. They are either pretty easy to walk through or just gimmick fights, so I'll just leave it at that. With that, I think I'm done with Jackie Chan games. As mentioned beforehand, I know there are many more games I could talk about, but since I don't own any of them and never played those games, I felt it would be a little wrong of me to review them when I know nothing about them. Also, yes, I know there is another adventure game on the GBA as mentioned by John, but my point still stands. Out of the two games, I can't really say which one is the better one, because both of them do a good job in bringing Jackie to the video game market, and I honestly recommend you guys find them and try them out yourselves.
And with that, I am done with this video. Finally. Do you know, I had a lot of plans for this year. I wanted to start it off with a bang. But you know, unfortunately a lot of things came up and I couldn't really follow through with them, even with last year. But you know, I think it's time to finish it. So it begins. Oh, bollocks. If I ever meet him in real life, I'm going to kick his ass. And then probably hug it. That was such a... Oh, God. That's such a dumb line delivery, and that's from me. That's going in the end.